Hi everyone. Okay, so I'm going to try to do one more video tonight. So this is Bijou. Bijou is a peach-faced lovebird, which is what my video today is going to be about. Now, first off, there's 3 different kinds of lovebirds that you can get, and within those 3 types of lovebirds, you can get a lot of different color variations. So you have the peachies, which are extremely common. Most people, when they think lovebird, this is what they think. So you have your peach-faced lovebirds. You have your Fisher's lovebirds. Which are usually the ones, I believe they're the ones with the yellowy orange beaks, and they're not peaked, but they're dark orange head. And you can also get the black masked conures, which have the black heads. Now, as far as lovebirds. Sorry, there's a black masked conure too. As far as lovebirds go, most lovebirds are pretty much the same. Lovebirds can be very territorial. Contrary to popular belief, you do not have to have 2 lovebirds. I don't know why people call them lovebirds, or where this whole thing came about, but you do not have to have 2 lovebirds. I have just 1 lovebird, and he's great. Actually, just what everyone you'll talk to when you look for a lovebird will tell you that unless you have very well hand-fed lovebirds and you spend a lot of time with your lovebirds, chances are they're going to get pretty nasty. Now, most lovebirds that are very friendly are like Bijou. They're very outgoing, they want to be with you. They're not like Minnies, who would much rather just play in their cage and have a good time. Lovebirds are, in general, bullies. I'm not sure how they are with each other, as I only have 1. But I've been told not to mix lovebirds with other birds because there is an issue they have with getting too pushy with another bird. I know that Bijou does kind of rule the roost here. He's going to go back to bed. I kind of pulled him out of his cage to do the video so that everyone can see what I'm talking about. Lovebirds have a tendency to be very pushy with other birds. They're very spunky little guys, and if they don't feel like they are in control, they tend to get very snippy. Mind you, there's always exceptions to the case. Like my Rosella loves my cockatiels and invited herself into their cage and hasn't left. They never fight. They eat out of the same dish. They're really good. Bijou is very friendly, very outgoing. Bijou has a bit of a story. I picked up Bijou last November from the local pet store. Now, I'm not big on pet stores. A lot of them have very poorly educated staff. A lot of them are way busting at the friggin' seams with animals that they don't have time to care for. Now, since the pet value that we have locally has expanded and has hired vet tech students, I find that their care has really improved. Two of my friends actually work there, and they are very strict with the managers about what they will tolerate and what they won't. And even though they're the bottom rung, they let them know that it is not acceptable for the cages to be not cleaned. It is not acceptable for the birds to be in there with no toys. It's not acceptable for 8 guinea pigs to be stuck in a tiny little hamster cage. They're very strict with that, which is excellent. So, anyway, I went into the pet store, and the man who owns the pet store is very soft when it comes to animals who need homes. So, we often see kittens in the display that are from a local rescue, and the kittens don't last very long. Everybody's looking for a kitten. So anyway, this older lady brought Bijou in. He was, he was 7 years old when she said that he was 7 years old when he was dropped off. And this older woman had him. He had a broken wing, and she was no longer able to care for him and decided that she needed to find him a new home. And I had been routinely going in to check on a particular conure who was not properly hand-fed, and I saw Bijou in the cage, so I asked about him. And most of the times when you see lovebirds in a pet store, I automatically assume that they're not hand-fed, they're not friendly. So I asked her, and she said, no, he's very friendly. He's extremely friendly, actually. So, somebody's playing with a toy. Um, so I asked her if I could meet Bijou, and she brought me around to the back inside the display, and he jumped up on my hand and jumped on my shoulder, and I walked around the store with him for a little bit, and we chatted with each other, and I said to him, Bijou, I have to go now. So I tried to get him off my shoulder and hand him back to the lady, and he flew off my hand and flew onto a bag of dog food that was sitting close by, so she walked up and picked him up, and again, he flew at me. So this went on 2 or 3 times, and I finally walked back and put him back in his cage. And I'm a big believer in signs, and I couldn't leave him there. So the next day, I called and said, yeah, I'm coming to take him home. So Bijou he smelt bad when I brought him home. Like, he'd been rolling in a cigarette ashtray for his entire life. Didn't know how to play with toys. Still to this day is starting to get better. I was only fed seeds. He's now eating pellets and Nutriberries, thank God. um, so he has come a long way, but I tell people a lot that most lovebirds aren't like this. Not all of them. Hand-fed babies tend to be very, very friendly. But you need to be careful about what you're getting into, because lovebirds are not the easiest birds to tame down. Once they get to a sexually mature age and they are allowed to express their sexual need to their toys, it's very hard to get them to revert back. A lot of people think that you have to have 2 of them, and then they just get attached to each other and they won't have anything to do with you. Lovebirds are fairly active birds, so I suggest at least an 18 by 18 cage. They need lots of shreddy toys. I know birds that can take apart a magazine in an hour. Lots of shreddy toys to play with. Now, if you find that your lovebird is getting very nesty with that much paper, then I suggest you keep away with that kind of stuff. Give them other things that they can shred into little pieces but can't make nests out of. Lovebirds are very loud. Don't let that little size fool you. They are loud. I've gotten headaches from one shrill shriek from Bijou sitting on my shoulder. He is not a quiet bird. Typically, they're not low-key quiet birds. They have a very shrill, very high-pitched squeak. Very much like the conures, they can be extremely loud. So if you live in an apartment, I suggest that you check with your neighbors to see exactly how much they can hear. Turn on the radio and keep turning it up until they say, no, that's at a volume that would bother me. And if that volume is at a point where you think, okay, a bird would be this loud, then maybe you should consider something a little bit quieter. Linneys, cockatiels, they tend to be very quiet birds. Budgies and lovebirds, budgies chatter more than lovebirds, but lovebirds can be very loud. I always suggest pelleted diet, which is a given with any bird. Lovebirds typically like to bathe. Mine loves a water dish. So that might be something you want to consider. But as always, a pelleted diet, limited amount of seeds if you decide to give it as a treat. I always suggest fruit and vegetables. It's sometimes hard to get the littler birds to eat it, but you can always try. So that's pretty much my dig for the lovebirds. If you have any questions, leave me a message, inbox me, you know the drill. And I hope you learned something. And if you know a lovebird in your area that is in need of a home, and, maybe you just want a lucky bird, get one. Maybe you can call them and see if they're friendly, because a lot of people have friendly lovebirds. They're not rare. So yeah, rescue, feed your bird pellets, treat it like your baby. You guys have all heard it before. So if you have any questions, like I said, you know the drill. And I hope you learned something about lovebirds. Yes, my thumbs are little. And stay tuned for my next video. Hopefully I'll get some up sometime this year. And if you guys have any suggestions as to what kind of videos I do, let me know. And I'll see y'all later.